Have you ever stopped to think about what really happens behind the scenes in Hollywood? The glamour, the awards, the celebrities, but what lies beneath all that shine? In today's video, we're diving deep into the darkest secrets of the film industry, revealing truths that rarely reach the public. Power abuses, manipulation, and stories that show a very different side from what we're used to seeing. Stick with us until the end, because what you're about to discover might change your perception of what you watch on screen. Before we start, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and give us a like. Now, get ready for a journey that will take you behind the darkest curtains of Hollywood. Hollywood has built its image as the world's entertainment hub since the early 20th century. Millions dream of making it there, to the land of red carpets, flashes, and blockbuster hits. The movies made in Hollywood often define popular culture and shape our expectations of fame, wealth, and success. But what few know is that behind this dream lies a powerful and often ruthless system, one designed to maintain its grip on both the public's imagination and the people working within it. Over the decades, Hollywood has become not just a movie factory but also a massive machine for cultural manipulation. From wars to social issues, the industry uses its influence to shape public opinion, often serving bigger interests. But all of this is carefully masked by the glamour of the productions. What we see on screen is a polished version of reality, one that often hides exploitation, abuse, and manipulation. For example, the ways in which Hollywood portrays certain events can be incredibly selective. Take World War II films, for instance. While many emphasize heroism and valor, very few focus on the darker sides of conflict, such as the destruction of civilian lives. And let's not forget how often romanticized depictions of war are used to justify political decisions. The reality behind these films is much more complex, and it's carefully curated to influence how we, the audience, think and feel about certain issues. Behind the scenes, power abuse is far more common than you might think. The most famous case, of course, is that of Harvey Weinstein, the producer who for years used his position to harass actresses. Weinstein wasn't acting alone. He was part of a system where many powerful people maintain a culture of fear and silence. This wasn't just about one man, it was about a widespread problem that had been going on for decades. These cases aren't exceptions. Power abuse is one of Hollywood's deepest wounds. Directors, producers, and influential stars use their authority to exploit professionals at all levels, always under the promise of opportunities in exchange for favors. The #MeToo movement exposed just the tip of the iceberg. Many big names were implicated, but for every story that went public, there are countless others that remain hidden. People at the bottom of the ladder, who lack fame or connections, often endure this abuse without ever getting the chance to speak out. The power dynamics in Hollywood make it difficult for victims to come forward. Many fear career backlash or public humiliation, so they remain silent, trapped in an industry that values profits and reputations more than human dignity. The question we should ask is, how many other stories, even now, still remain in the shadows? When we talk about Hollywood, we're not just talking about entertainment. Every movie, series, and documentary carries subtle, or not so subtle, messages that can influence how we see the world. War films, for instance, often reinforce specific political and cultural narratives, shaping our perceptions of global issues. In fact, many Hollywood productions have direct or indirect ties to government agencies that shape the way military conflicts or foreign policies are depicted. This collaboration between Hollywood and politics has a long history. Hollywood has always played a key role in building myths. The treatment of controversial topics, like terrorism and wars in the Middle East, frequently reinforces stereotypes or even justifies military actions. But it's done so cleverly that the audience rarely notices. Every frame, every line of dialogue is carefully crafted to create empathy or disdain for certain groups or events. Take, for example, how certain action films portray countries in the Middle East. The consistent depiction of these nations as hostile or backward reinforces dangerous stereotypes. While it's easy to dismiss this as fiction, these portrayals subtly shape how we think about foreign cultures and global politics. In many cases, Hollywood doesn't just entertain, it helps craft the narrative that supports broader geopolitical interests. But it's not just politics. Hollywood also influences our understanding of gender roles, beauty standards, and success. Romantic comedies, for instance, often promote idealized visions of love and relationships that are far from reality. While they may seem harmless, these stories can create unrealistic expectations in our own lives. The manipulation runs deeper than we often realize. While stars bask in the limelight, who really keeps Hollywood running? Behind the scenes, there are thousands of workers, technicians, makeup artists, extras, many of whom endure long hours with low pay and poor working conditions. These people are vital to the creation of the movies and shows we love, yet their contributions often go unnoticed and unappreciated. For example, the visual effects artists who spend countless hours creating the mind-blowing scenes we see in blockbuster films often work under extreme pressure for little pay. Many work 80-hour weeks, missing family time and suffering from burnout, all to meet unrealistic deadlines. And despite the millions of dollars these films make, these workers receive only a fraction of the rewards. For young actors, especially child stars, the situation can be even more devastating. Exposed to immense pressure from an early age, many lack the emotional support they need. There have been numerous cases of young actors who struggled to transition into adulthood after spending their formative years in the spotlight. The result? Many end up battling addiction, mental health issues, or losing their way completely in life. Growing up in the spotlight often comes with a heavy psychological toll, leading to a troubled adult life. When we think of Hollywood's biggest stars, we imagine a life of luxury, fame, and success. But the reality is much harsher. The pressure to stay relevant, always flawless and perfect in the public eye, can be crushing. Many artists end up turning to substance abuse, developing anxiety, or battling severe depression. The rise and fall of stars like Lindsay Lohan, Britney Spears, and others serve as cautionary tales of what happens when fame becomes too much to handle. The industry, in many ways, exploits its stars. They are placed on pedestals, idolized by millions, only to be torn down by the same system when they falter. For some, like Robin Williams and Heath Ledger, the pressures became unbearable. Their tragic deaths highlighted just how destructive the fame machine can be. Fame might seem like a dream, but for many, it's a nightmare that's impossible to escape. Even those who are seen as successful struggle. Behind the smiles for the cameras, many stars are constantly battling their own demons, all while the media and the public scrutinize their every move. The intense pressure to maintain an image can be overwhelming, leading to breakdowns that we, as the audience, often don't see until it's too late. In recent years, some brave voices have risen to expose the injustices behind Hollywood's curtains. Rose McGowan, who paved the way for the #MeToo movement by accusing Harvey Weinstein, showed the world that victims no longer need to remain silent. Brendan Fraser was also one of the stars who revealed the abuse he faced and how it impacted his career and personal life. These testimonies are vital to breaking the cycle of silence that dominates the industry. Their courage inspired many others to share their stories, revealing a corrupt system deeply rooted in power abuse. For every big name that steps forward, there are countless other individuals who will likely never see justice. The road to real change is long, but exposing these dark secrets is the first step. These secrets don't just affect those working in Hollywood, they affect us directly. What we consume deeply impacts our beliefs, opinions, and behaviors. By understanding the manipulations behind films and series, we begin to question, to what extent are we being influenced without realizing it? Hollywood doesn't just tell stories, it shapes narratives that can reinforce unrealistic beauty standards, gender stereotypes, and cultural biases. And these messages, when absorbed uncritically, affect how we view the world and ourselves. For instance, how often do we see films that portray women in strong, diverse roles compared to those that reduce them to mere love interests or side characters? The media we consume shapes how we perceive gender roles, relationships, and even ourselves. Hollywood is an industry that, while enchanting, hides dark secrets that need to be uncovered. As more voices rise, we, the audience, also have a responsibility to look beyond the glamour and see the truth. When watching movies and series, we should ask ourselves, what's being sold to us? What messages are subtly being planted? If you've made it this far, thank you for joining me on this journey through Hollywood's dark backstage. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more content like this, and give a like if you enjoyed it. See you in the next video.